Just a quick, I'll start with injuries. Matty Vidra and Maxwell, what's the situation with those two?
Certainly with Vids, I think he's got a strong chance of being with us and available. Don't think Maxwell will be. He's going well, but it'll probably be too quick a turnaround. And, obviously coming off in the manner he did, it's probably too risky.
Yeah, with a couple of weeks in front of you to maybe get that better. And
exactly, yeah. Exactly, yeah.
Any other problems at all?
No, everyone should be fine. Kevin Long's coming back to full fitness. Connor Roberts is not quite fit, but he's back on the grass, so needs a bit more time. And Maxwell, as you know. No, I think that's pretty much it.
You're obviously looking for your first win, but what have you seen in those performances that have given you positivity going forward?
Well, I think the chance creation and the quality of chances, some of the way that we've managed to make them chances has been quite pleasing. The things we've got to continue to work on is the detail, and I've mentioned that since the beginning of the season because I know from my years in the Premier League that both boxes are very relevant. Of course, you have to get the details right in the middle of the pitch, quite obviously, but both boxes, the cutting edge, defending properly, but also scoring and taking your chances. That's the margins of the Premier League, and they're kind of enhanced, I think, at the top level of football. I think, they become ever more important, and we're not far away, I don't think, from getting that right.
Yeah, I guess Norwich will be looking at the same. I've seen a couple of their games as well, and they've not quite got what maybe their efforts has given them in the end.
Yeah, well, like I say, I'm not too worried about everyone else. I look at ourselves, I look at what we're doing, I look how we're operating. Obviously, look at the teams we're playing before we do them. Before we do play them, rather. But, the fact is that we have to focus and concentrate on what we're doing, continually analysing and looking at the team, whilst not overthinking it. A lot of our performances have been right, but as I've said many times, I'm certainly not naive to not understand our industry. You have to get wins, you have to get points. So adding to them performances and finding them wins, that's going to be the next step and the important factor.
Yeah, I guess it's a good point, the overthinking bit. You can tend to do that in your situation. But everyone will look at maybe last season and saying, well, they started slowly last year. I guess everyone except yourself.
Well, look, we had different reasons last year. A lot of injuries, a lot of challenges in that way, different games programme. I'm pleased to say the injuries, although we've had a few, we're less at the minute, which is pleasing. The fitness level's been good. But it's more a case of still a different version of that. We've got to get on the right side of some good performances. And, we're taking the lead in games, haven't seen the game through. Sometimes there's a little bit on that when, you get that edge because you're not free-flowing and finding them wins. It breeds confidence when you're winning games and the belief in winning games. But the only people who can turn that into wins is ourselves. We've spoken to the players about that. Our mindset is not to wait for a win to come our way. It's to make a win happen, and I think I've spoken to the group certainly over the last couple of games. I thought the performance at Leicester was a good one and a strong one, and it's an agreed moment between us that the next level is to turn them good performances into wins. The players are involved in that quite obviously, and I think there's a strong chance as long as we keep performing well. We find them key moments and we do start scoring goals and taking our chances because we've got a history that shows we do that. So therefore my belief in that is evident, but also the fact that we've got to make it happen rather than wait for it.
What are you expecting from Norwich?
I think, look, it's tough. We've been through it ourselves. They've come at the second time. Trying to make changes, trying to operate at a different level, but not go a million miles away from what they believe. And it's difficult. And as you said, I'm sure they'll look at games where the margins weren't the right side for them. They're certainly a decent outfit. You can't find your way into the Premier League and be in the Premier League unless you're a decent outfit. But they are in their challenges. They did do last time round. They are doing this time round. That's the Premier League. It's very difficult. Other teams have come up and hit the ground running. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you've got to continually earn the right to be in the Premier League. It's a difficult task, trust me. So I'm not certainly overthinking the fact where they are or any of that. I'm thinking they're a good outfit who are going to try and win a game, and we've got to make sure we look after ourselves.
Yeah, just finally one for me. With regards to the crowd, how important is the home crowd, the Turf Moor crowd for you?
It's always been important since I've been at the club, you know, and particularly when we changed the flow and the feeling, a very positive feeling from the stands, going into the team, going around the ground. That's been a real plus here, you know, and honestly, the patience, you know, the patience of the fans, even through some of our trickier periods, has been fantastic, and we still need that. You know, they know they've got a team who give a lot. They know that I do. They know the staff do, and they know the players do. They want to see wins, quite obviously. They want to see good performances, but they want to back the team, and I think they have done, and I think they'll continue to do that because they've become a big part of what we've tried to achieve here and what we continue look to achieve.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. Hugh Ferris, PLP.
Hi, Sean. Nice to see you. Just on that home form, it's strange given how important the home form has been for you over the years that it's, I think, run up to 13 games without a win. Is that split up into no fans and fans, and perhaps actually the transition between the two playing a part in that as well?
Well, our away form was incredibly important to us last season, kept us in the Premier League. So, you know, we've got to analyse the truth of the market we're in. For sure, you want your home form to be at least decent because you want your fans to be behind. You want that feel-good factor. But where you get your points from and making points and making it happen, that's the key to it. And we showed that last season. So can you have good runs away from home and at home in the Premier League? We've had both. So I certainly don't overthink that. Favourable if you have a good home record, and I think every team that is, by the way, that's not just about us. You know, you look at the top sides, they want good home records, but the challenge of a season is to get points on the board and enough points to continue what you're looking to build in the Premier League. So that's the biggest picture. But do we want to correct it for our home fans? Of course, like any home team would.
Nothing about kind of reacquainting the players with an atmosphere that had changed so significantly over the course of more than a year that it's actually a little bit weird, even though we took it for granted prior to the pandemic?
I've never really overthought it. I certainly don't. You know, the fact is the players are back in front of the crowd. They know they get backed by the crowd here. I think they're all pleased that crowds are in, home and away. So, no, for me, it's just a continuation of where we left off before a really tough period for everyone in life, let alone football. You know, continuing from then, crowds are back in. Everyone wanted it. Everyone's pleased that's happening. Getting out there, playing, working hard to win football matches. So certainly that's my focus as well. And you know, look, we've not been far away, trust me. You still need a squidge of luck now and again. You need something to just fall your way. And we've not had too much of that. So I'm not going to cry it in, but I think a little bit of that wouldn't go amiss. So it might be that turns you around. It might be that wins you a game. There's all sorts of things come into play. But usually I believe in performance levels, and I believe in not relying on a squidge of luck. I believe in making your own luck, and that's through performances and the work that you're going to put in.
I was interested, you brought up the fact that Norwich have come back up, as you did the season 2016-17. What did you change the second time around, having learned from the experience, and how vital was it that you got that chance to kind of make those changes? And obviously it's worked because you've stuck in the Premier League ever since.
We didn't go a million miles away from what we believed was right. We had a slightly more rounded squad the second time. We had a slightly more experienced squad as well. We'd kept a lot of the good players that we thought were important. We'd signed good players that we thought were important. And moulded a team around the truth of what we were and continued to work hard for what we got. You know, and you know, people forget because the first season we didn't, you know, we a minimal investment in the side, but we actually pushed it quite close, you know. You know, in the end, we weren't there and thereabouts necessarily, but a lot closer than people thought. And, you know, so when we went up the second time, I felt we'd added quality, we'd added experience, we'd had a bit of a stronger edge to our group and more depth. So therefore, we were genuinely in a better place to take on what it is to be in the Premier League. And we achieved our Premier League status and stayed up that season, obviously, and have done since.